Welcome to Season 8 of the Finding Peace podcast. This season is focused on practical, trauma-informed tools you can use in everyday life. When emotions run high, relationships feel heavy, or your nervous system needs support. Short episodes designed to help you find more peace, joy, and connection, one moment at a time. Please welcome the host of the Finding Peace podcast, best-selling author, psychotherapist, and speaker, Troy L. Love.
I used to think that I was just highly aware. That's the language I used for years. Perceptive, intuitive, empathic, good at reading people. But the truth is, my body learned something very early. I grew up in a home with angry parents, especially my father. I never knew when he was going to lose his temper. I never knew when it would be the moment where all chaos would ensue. Well, there was one predictable place that I knew that was going to happen every time we went out to dinner, because inevitably I would spill my drink every time. And every time my dad would go ballistic, so angry. "Damn kid, can't take you anywhere," he would say. But outside of that, some days he was calm, many days he was kind, and then some days, without warning, his voice would rise, his face would turn beet red, he would puff up, and he would shift. The air around him shifted as well. And there wasn't really a pattern I could rely on. No clear rules, no warning signs I could trust, and so I learned to watch. I paid attention to footsteps, to how doors were closed or opened, the way dishes were set on the counter, to the tone of his voice when he said my name. And unfortunately, that also carried on to the way my mother reacted. As a victim of domestic violence, she also became unpredictable, never knowing when her temper was going to be unleashed, when she was going to be upset at me. My body learned that safety could disappear in an instant. And then in middle school, the same lesson followed me into the hallways. I'm standing on the soccer field of my middle school, and it is PE. Somehow or other, I have been assigned to be the goalie of my particular soccer team. I know I was picked last because I was always picked last, but I'm really glad that I was the goalie because my fellow team members were really good at soccer. Me, not so much. What that meant was that they were on the other side of the field, keeping the ball down on that end of the field, and I really didn't have anything to do, which was fantastic for a lack of coordinated little guy that I was. And so I was looking up at the sky, looking at the grass and how nice it smelled because it seemed to have been freshly mowed. I'm looking at everything other than what's going on at the other end of the field. And I'm really glad that they are on the other end of the field. You all just stay down there. And then I noticed a tug in my shorts. And I looked down, and my gym shorts and my underwear have been pulled all the way down to my ankles. And two boys are running away, laughing and snickering, thinking it was the funniest joke in the world. And I may have been willing to laugh along with them if I didn't know what was going to happen next. Because it happened every day after gym was over. I would go into the locker room, we'd have to change back into our normal clothes, and then we would line up on the stairway to be excused for our next class. And on that stairway, the boys would circle around me, and they would call me names like faggot, femme, fudge packer, gay, and the contempt in their eyes was so intense. And it didn't just happen in the stairway of the gym class. It would happen after school as well. These boys would wait for me and would chase me home, wanting to beat me up, and they would call me names. And so I learned that school was not safe and home was not safe. Sometimes it was just a look, a laugh that came a half a second too late, a whisper just loud enough for me to hear my name, a sudden shift when I would walk into the room. One day I'm ignored, the next day I'm the target. Sometimes the same person could be friendly in one class and cruel in the next, and that was always suspicious to me. I could never figure that out. Again, no pattern, no predictability. And so my nervous system did what nervous systems do best. It adapted. I started tracking everything: who I was sitting with, where I was sitting, who was whispering, who stopped talking when I walked by. I learned to read tone before words, micro expressions before meaning, silence before sound. If laughter erupted behind me, my shoulders tightened. If a room went quiet, my stomach dropped. If someone sighed, my chest clenched. At the time, I didn't know it or even name it as afraid or fear, because that would be not okay to be afraid. I didn't want to be a wimp and a weenie either. I really didn't call it anything because that was just the state of things. What it really was preparation. That pattern didn't stay in childhood. As an adult, I noticed I couldn't fully relax. Not at home, not on vacation, not even lying in bed at night. My body stayed on, listening for the shift, watching for the turn, watching for the moment when calm would become conflict. I think the only time where my body was able to relax was when I was by myself. And for me, I just shoved it all down inside and pretended that it didn't exist. I pretended that everything was okay. I pretended that I was fine. What clients tell me when they experience this is that they are anxious. But anxiety wasn't the root. Unpredictability was. When we grow up not knowing when anger will erupt, when affection can turn into withdrawal, when safety depends on somebody else's mood, our nervous systems learn to scan, to anticipate, to stay one step ahead. Not because we're broken, but because our brains are actually brilliant. My brain and my body learned how to survive. And the work now isn't to shame that adaptive part of myself or force it to stop. The work is to help my nervous system learn something new. That raised voices aren't inevitable, that silence does not always mean danger, and that calm can last. Tending to our attachment wounds isn't about becoming desensitized. It's about teaching a once watchful nervous system that it no longer has to stand on guard. So here's another way of looking at it. Hypervigilance isn't anxiety. It's preparation after unpredictability. Our nervous system learned that safety is unreliable. And when safety is unreliable, our body compensates by watching everything. The tone of voice, facial expressions, how energy shifts in the room when things become silent. Hypervigilance is simply our nervous system saying, if I stay alert, maybe I won't be caught off guard again. And that's not weakness, that's intelligence shaped by experience. The issue is that vigilance requires energy, and when our nervous system never gets the signal that it can stand down, it never has an opportunity to rest, not even for some in their sleep. I can't tell you how many clients I have who have nightmares all the time. So we might feel tired, but wired, calm on the outside and so tense on the inside, unable to fully relax, even in safe moments. And that doesn't mean that there's something wrong with our body. It just means that our body hasn't been convinced yet that now is different than the past. So instead of our shadows of shame saying to us, well, just relax, knock it off, would you stop it already? let's try something gentler. Let's do a practice together. Wherever you are right now, hopefully not driving because that wouldn't work out very well. Name 5 things that you can see. And I want you to say it out loud, even if you're around other people. Okay, maybe they'll think you're weird, but that's okay. 5 things that you can see. 4 things that you can tactily feel, either with your hands or your skin. For example, you might be able to feel your shirt touching your arms, or you might be able to feel something next to you. But 4 things that you can feel. 3 things that you can hear, and say it out loud. 2 things that you can smell or taste. And 1 thing that you are grateful for. Now, this is called 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And if you Google it, there are many different versions of it. I'm not saying that this is the right one. It's just a 5, 4, 3, 2, 1 exercise, but there are many others. But that's it. 5 things you can see. 4 things that you can feel. 3 things that you can hear. 2 things that you can smell or taste. And 1 thing that you can be grateful for right now. That's it. We're not forcing calm. We're offering our nervous system new information. Where am I right now? It helps me become present to this moment. It helps me recognize that I am safe in this moment. Hypervigilance kept us protected when the world felt unpredictable. And we need to respect that and honor that. And when our shadows of shame show up having things to say about our hypervigilance, we can tell them, thank you for trying to protect me. I'm doing something different right now. And peace doesn't arrive by shutting vigilance down. Peace begins when vigilance can finally rest. And that's what I'm hoping for you, that you can find rest and peace and joy and love in your life more often, because you are worthy of love and belonging.
You've been listening to the Finding Peace podcast. Special thanks to Intrex for providing the theme music for this season and helping set the tone for reflection, grounding, and hope. If this episode supported you, please like, subscribe, and share the Finding Peace podcast. Your support helps these practical, trauma-informed tools reach more people who are seeking peace, clarity, and connection. To explore more resources, workshops, and upcoming events, visit findingpeaceconsulting.com. The Finding Peace podcast is hosted by best-selling author, psychotherapist, and speaker Troy L. Love. Until next time, remember, you are worthy of love and belonging.